News. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Kelly, and this is your weekend of February 5th, 2022 episode number 48.
48.
Happy February 2022.
Coming up on our 52nd episode, really.
Coming up on our, we're only a month away from our 1 year anniversary of our podcast. Oh my gosh.
And if you're not familiar, go back and listen to the first few episodes, particularly because right after we started doing this, like, my mom died, and it was,
Wow.
we were talking about that today, actually, how much of an effect that's been on me and both of us, really. Because, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, for the first time ever, like, felt like I had, had admitted to having some depression, which is not something I've ever thought about before.
You brought it up in mid-conversation, kind of like a joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe this isn't a joke. Maybe we've got some,
See, the thing is, I was on a really good
here.
track with my diabetes and my weight and everything. And then when my mom died, I kind of just got off the track. And it's just been, then afterwards it was like, well, then it was like, oh, well, it's the holidays. Let's, and then all this stuff with the the in-laws being down in Georgia. Now it's just like, it's, and it's just difficult to get back on the wagon. And I need to, because I'm sure when I go back to Dr. Bev, she's not going to be happy with me. But, it's just hard to get back on the wagon. I need to. So.
Yeah, but it was interesting, the discussion we had in the car, though, about, is this depression?
Yeah.
Or, not being motivated to do anything and being okay to just work in your pajamas all day. And when I'm home on the weekends, like sitting around in my pajamas and not wanting to go anywhere or do anything, like, at what point, I think the pandemic has pushed a lot of it, and then, you have to start wondering at what point is this more than just, I'm just a homebody.
Yeah. So one of the things I've figured I need to do first and foremost is to wear pants to work. I mean, I wear like jogging pants, or what they call jogging pants, and sweatpants, and but I need to get, like, maybe I'll just throw some jeans on, because I feel
Just
better when
get
I
up,
have
get
jeans
dressed.
on. And like today, I went out and I took my mother-in-law. She wanted to go to IKEA real bad, and told y'all that was going to happen. And it did. And so walked around all of IKEA. And it wasn't a great visit because we only found like two. She's looking for furniture for the guest room, specifically a dresser drawer. And the two that she found, she wanted in like wood or brown, and they only had it in white. And it just, kind of puts a damper on it.
Well, we'll find the perfect piece.
Yeah.
It's not a huge...
But just getting out and about and like just putting pants on, it makes a difference.
It's a mental. It's how you frame your mental state. Just looking at things through a new lens. I think that's what has to start happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to work on it. Getting out a little more. I'm still very not comfortable out around a lot of people because, knock on wood, all of the members of the family who live here have not been impacted by COVID directly, and I'd like to keep it that way. So I'm still not comfortable around a ton of people in social situations. But again, I never was even before the pandemic, so. Anyway, so that was an interesting talk today. Going back to the beginning of the week, we had more snow on Saturday, which meant no school again on Monday.
I can't even tell you, you folks that in Virginia, you get this, but you folks that listen to us from outside of Virginia, this doesn't happen. We get one snow a year. And sometimes it's a good, 6-7 inches, and that's fine. But to get a 3+ inch snow twice in 1 year.
All of my family
crazy.
in New England area, northeast coast, are just laughing right now because we got snow on Friday night into Saturday, 3 inches maybe. The roads were completely clear Saturday. and we didn't have school Monday.
Yeah.
Because of some roads in neighborhoods that were bad, but I was hard pressed to find a person who knew where those roads were. So my friends in New York and all would probably be like, oh my God, are you kidding me? We were even like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, why are we not in school today?
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Not complaining, because we worked from home and the kids worked from home, so it counted as a school day.
Yeah.
Which is good for me. And then we had no kids Tuesday because it was a staff day, so I had a nice long 4-day weekend without students, which sounds so horrible because really the students are the whole reason why you're there.
Yeah.
But it was nice to have a couple of days to really just get caught up on stuff.
Because your kids suck.
They don't. That's not true. He's kidding. He's kidding. In fact, today we did a really fun activity. I was telling them at dinner about resilience and, challenging yourself and not being afraid to try something new. And they had to work as a team today to get a hula hoop around a circle without unlocking hands. And so it was fun to watch them work through the process as a team. I mean, that shiny happy moment lasted for about 20 minutes, and then we were right back to the tattling and the, having trouble managing emotions and all of that. But it was pretty while it lasted. So really nothing new going on this week.
No, she had a little time off. She had a teacher day, and I worked. Got a shift bid coming up. That shift bid is where we bid for like the shift warrant. I mean, usually happens twice a year. The last couple of years, there's only been once. And the last couple of times I've kind of made out, but that streak's probably going to come to an end. That may change our schedule for this a little bit. But
I don't think so. We could still find time. What it might change is my escort service to and from work every day.
Yeah.
Because Kevin drives me to work in the morning before he goes to work, and then he'll either pick me up on his days off or Mom will pick me up in the afternoons. But if Kevin's schedule has him starting too early, he won't be able to drive me. If you start later, you'll still be able to drive me. It'll actually give us more time in the morning. Yeah. But then we lose him at dinner time, which sucks. Right now, I don't have him on the weekends, so we don't have a day off together during the week. So it would be nice to have at least one day where neither one of us work every week. But the shift bid,
it happens.
They say here's the 40 shifts and rank them in the order you want them. And then when they get around to pulling your name, you get the best of what's left.
Yeah. And seniority only counts like 15%. Yeah. So the fact that I've been there 15 years only matters 15%. So.
Generally, it works out, though. We always manage to roll with the punches.
I just don't want to work overnights. I can't.
You will not work overnights. You've been saying that for 15 years, and it's never happened.
Yeah, well,
so
if you get a chance to work at a call center.
Pass. It's Kevin's famous line.
Yeah.
So we started talking about what our topic for this week was going to be.
And I think it's an interesting topic. We talked about, because we noticed them, and I call them background people. These are the people in your life that you see on a regular basis. And maybe not every day, but you see them on a regular basis. You don't know their name, but you either rely on them or they're just part of your story.
Interact with them in some way. They're the extras, like in a movie set.
The extras. The extras. And most of the time you give them a nickname, which is what we do. And I'm sure we're not the only people that do this. We can't possibly.
I don't know. We're going to find out if we're the only people who do this.
Yeah, we need comments, folks. Who's your background people in your life and what's their nicknames?
So we have a pretty routine morning. Mm-hmm. And there are people who we come across on our morning routine every day that we do not know personally, but they're part of our morning. And so a couple of them, the first one who's not on the list because we actually know her name is Emily. Emily works at the Chick-fil-A by my job, and she pretty much waits on us every morning. So she'll come on and say, hi, my name is Emily. Can I take your order? And Kevin will say, picking up a mobile order for Kelly. And she'll say, your usual today?
Yeah.
So, yep.
Or we changed up my order because I did try to switch from the biscuit to they have a bowl with eggs and sausage and cheese. And sorry. with eggs and sausage and cheese. They put hash browns in it, but they take it out for me. And I did that, and she said, "Oh, you're changing it up on me." And I'm like, "Keep on your toes," that kind of stuff. Just a little semi-conversation.
So we know her name because she tells us, Emily.
But honestly, I couldn't pick her out when we're at the window.
I could.
Really?
Yeah. Even though she doesn't wait on us at the window.
Yeah.
But I know what she looks like to look at.
Oh, okay. Because this guy, the person that's at the window
is a different person.
It's a young kid, a guy.
And we call him Pretty All Right Guy.
Because it's like, he says, "How are you folks doing today?" I'm like, "Oh, we're good. How about yourself?" And he always says the same thing. "I'm pretty all right."
Every morning. Same conversation.
And
how are you guys? "Oh, we're good. How are you?" "Pretty all right."
Yeah. And you can look at him, and that is the most true statement ever. Because this kid isn't, like, sharp. He isn't put together great, but he's not disheveled. He's, like, somewhere in between. It's like he didn't just get out of bed, but he's not a primper. He's not.
It's early in the morning.
He's not sitting there forever. He's not one of these pretty boys.
He's not manscaping.
Right. He's pretty all right. He just gets up and he's gliding through life. Working at the Chick-fil-A.
The first time he said it, it struck me because I never heard anybody answer that question. "How are you?" "Oh, pretty all right."
But
and then every day. It's the exact same. So
right.
we call him Pretty All Right Guy. Not to his face. Certainly we wouldn't do that. But
no.
We're like, "Oh yeah, that's Pretty All Right Guy. Was not feeling it today," or whatever.
Yeah, I mean he's a good guy. He gives us our food and whatever. And
it's pleasant.
He's pleasant. With Chick-fil-A, you're always going to get pleasant. Yeah, people give Chick-fil-A shit, and I guess I get it a little bit. But goddamn it, you're going to get some really good food from some really, really nice people. So.
All right, so that's our first extra in our life. Pretty All Right Guy. Mm-hmm. Our next set of extras, Kevin. I have to give total credit to this next nickname to Kevin.
All right, so once we get our food at the Chick-fil-A, we go next door. There's a Rite Aid that doesn't open until after we're gone. But we'll park there, and we park so that we're looking at the International
We have a name
mall.
for that, too, the International Strip Mall.
Yeah,
We're the only people in the world that call it that, I'm sure.
Yeah. And we call it that because there's a Peruvian chicken, there's a
Korean
barbecue, there's a Korean barbecue / karaoke place, there's a smoke shop, the Asian A New Touch foot massage place, the Chinese joint. Anal touch.
The sign is terrible. Don't ever get a sign in blue, people.
Yeah, because the first time I was like,
put it in blue.
Touch. Who's paying for that? But anyway.
That's what I think it says every single day.
Yeah. So, but a couple of times we've been out there. There's like a couple cars with women, and they all congregate at this van. And they obviously are people that work at the Rite Aid. But and I call them the haggard bitches because you just look at them and it's like, man, those are some haggard bitches.
You don't want to wrestle with them.
Yeah.
You just don't want to tangle with them.
You don't lose because they don't care. They don't care. What are you going to do to them? They don't give a shit.
So every day we'll go by and Kevin's like, "Oh, the haggard bitches aren't here yet."
Yeah. Or, they don't show
up
up
there's
very
the haggard
often,
bitches.
but when
Out
they do,
there
it's
sweeping.
Yeah, so they don't show up very often. I don't know anything about them other than they look like
probably wonderful people. Again, this goes to our proclivity toward putting judgments on people that we don't know.
Well,
for fun, we would never treat them any differently or anything like that. It's just between us and now you people all know who are haggard.
This is our car
bitches.
talk.
Yeah. The next person we also encounter at our breakfast routine.
And we've talked about this
We've talked about Zigzag Lady before.
Zigzag Lady. She's weird to watch when she's over across the street in the International parking lot. So she's zigzagging away. She becomes my problem when she crosses the street. Because then I'm like, I don't know what she's going to do, so I'm locking the door. I'm like, all right, we're going to start rolling, but I want to make sure I'm not going to run this bitch over. Because, we got good cameras on the car, but, I mean, she turns so dramatically, you never know.
I've never actually felt threatened by her because clearly she's in an exercise routine.
I don't think that's clearly. I don't think it's clearly.
I mean, she's dressed like she's out jogging.
Yeah, but people jog. They jog in a straight line. They're not zigzagging.
She does not. She zigzags, like turns on 90-degree angles at random times in the parking lot and stuff.
And if it's because of some song, it's a fucked up song. It really is.
So that's our Zigzag Lady. You want to skip to this one, or you want to do this guy first?
Well, we'll stick with the food base. All right. So this guy worked at the McDonald's around the corner for the longest time. And then he was working at the Chick-fil-A for a
We
while.
got a
I
lot
don't
of
know where
fast
he
food
is.
restaurants, if you
Yeah.
can't tell.
But this guy, we call him the Experience. Because at first we didn't know his name. And then when he worked at Chick-fil-A, we found out his name. His name is Ray John. Great guy, but super flamboyant. Like, super
Very,
flamboyant.
very, very
Like,
flamboyant.
you know, old school Saturday Night Live flamboyant. And it's funny, but he's a real friendly guy, and he always gets the order right. But he's like, you know, and the first time we took Cole there, he was just like, what the hell?
Well, the first time I went there, I guess you and Mom had gone.
Oh, I've seen him
He's
dozens
just
of times.
over the top friendly. Over the top friendly. And Mom and I pulled up to the drive-thru, and he came on, and immediately it was like, I can't even, good morning, welcome to McDonald's, how are you today? Like, super excited. Like, I was the first person he's seen in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like that, and I'm not even exaggerating. And it caught me off guard because normally the people who come over the speaker at any of those places
Are dry.
sound like they're being held at gunpoint to do that job. And so I was like, oh, we're doing fine. Like, and I ordered, and he, you know, he was like,
Guess what?
well, yeah, you know, all right, well then, you get to pull your car around. Guess what? You get to pull your car around and meet me at the first window. And I felt like I was on a Disneyland ride. Like, I was like, oh, okay. And then I got to the window, and I gave him my debit card, and he took it, and he was like, guess what? You've been approved. And I was just like, it must be so nice to enjoy your work that much.
I don't think he enjoys it.
Or you're just at least
He is faking it.
mind setting yourself into, you know, the person who you're helping is going to enjoy it. Like, they're going to drive away remembering you, which is exactly what happened. And then he left the McDonald's. He was gone for a while. And we nicknamed him the Experience. Because when Liam and Cole were in town, we were like, we have to take you to McDonald's. You have to have the experience. Because he's just so much fun. And then he popped up at our favorite Chick-fil-A. And we were so excited that he was at our favorite Chick-fil-A.
I was like, yes.
And we can't be like, the Experience, you're here. That's when we found out his name, because at Chick-fil-A, they tell you their name.
Yeah. Which is
But
nice,
he's not
really.
there anymore either.
No, I don't know what happened to him.
Hopefully he
you're
has
watching
moved
this,
up
buddy,
the
we
chain
miss you.
and is just, you know,
Maybe he's in charge of like,
moving on to better things.
maybe he's in charge of customer experience. That'd be great.
But he's great. I honestly really miss him. I miss, well, Chick-fil-A,
watch it,
they're
buddy,
always
we miss
helpful anyway. They're always super sweet. I miss him at the McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. All right, our next guy.
Oh, let's go back up to the
This
the
one?
mailman.
Yeah.
The mailman.
Not our current mailman.
No. But occasionally he still shows up from time to time and call him the bald bastard. This is the one that almost got in a fight with Mike.
Yeah. Have
the
we told
door.
this story on the podcast
I think
before?
we have. I'll go ahead and tell it again. So one day, I'm working. Of course, I'm working from home, and at the time I was in our bedroom, and I had my window open, but I was on a phone call, and I see the mailman come up with a package, and he's feverishly knocking at the door, and he's walking away with the package. So I put my customer on a brief mute, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, we're here. I work from home. I can't answer the door right now. Hold on a second." And I yell at Mike, and luckily Mike comes up, and he was off that day, and he comes out and he goes to the door. And I'm like, great. So I get back on my call, and then I hear a big commotion. I was like, what the hell? And I hear one of them clearly yelling. And I'm like, oh, shit, they're going to get in a fight, and they're going to roll out in the yard. They didn't, thank God. But after the call, I got off the call, and I went and checked up on Mike. Went into a personal and checked up on Mike. And apparently, the guy was all pissed that, we were messing up his route. And Mike said, well, I'm sorry, I was asleep, and my brother-in-law is working from home, but he can't, he's on the phone, he can't leave the phone call. And he goes, well, who owns that car right there? And he goes, that's my car. And he goes, well, it's can you move it from there, because it's too close to the mailbox, and it just makes my job so much more difficult. So Mike mutters, as he's signing, he's like, no, neither rain or sleet or snow. And then the guy goes, what did you say? Well, Mike doesn't give a fuck. He's like, gets up in his face and says, in rain or sleet or snow, but apparently not if you park too close to the fucking mailbox. That's what I'm
He may
hearing.
have an anger issue.
So the guy's like starting to pull the package away. Mike pulls it back and says, "Get the fuck out of here!" And there's like apparently yelling back and forth. The guy's getting all huffy about it, but he walks off in a huff. But I mean,
Because he doesn't want to get fired.
Yeah, but I love my brother-in-law, but that's one of my favorite
Well,
stories.
that came to, they went out and measured the distance between Michael's car and the mailbox and went to the postmaster at the post office and asked if there was a rule. And Michael was well outside of the range of where you need to be away from the mailbox. But whatever. So we call him the bald bastard just because,
He looks like a bald bastard.
He does look miserable like every time he delivers mail.
Yeah.
Our normal people look all fine. And
Yeah.
but that guy is just looking miserable when he comes through here.
Yeah. Screw that guy.
The next guy lives in our neighborhood. And so we see him walking occasionally.
He's
down the road, and he does the baggy, like he's got the pants that you can see, like his underwear, all the way down below his butt.
Very thuggish.
Yeah, and
Your dad started calling him 5-0.
Dad nicknamed him 5-0. So
now, honestly, truthfully, he looks like a pretty decent guy. He never.
It's just his dress. It's the way he's dressed.
He doesn't. I don't get the vibe off of him that he's dangerous. But
No.
He just he's got the thug look,
and he
but
walks
it's the
down the
thug-like
middle
look.
of the street rather than on the sidewalk.
Yeah, but he
which I don't
moves over
understand
when he hears people behind him. He does move over to the side.
He's never done
a shit
anything
about
to
it.
make us
Yeah.
feel like he's a horrible person. But Dad calls him 5-0 just because of the the way he presents himself with his clothes. And we literally wave at him.
Yeah.
Like Dad be like, "Hey, 5-0," and he's like, I don't know if he's ever acknowledged us back. Probably not.
I think he's giving us the half nod.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
But we do wave at him when we see him. He's just one of the background actors of our life.
Yeah. He wasn't involved. We had a couple years back. The neighborhood was blocked out by the cops. There was actually a hostage experience at one of the things.
Hostage experience. It was a hostage situation.
A hostage situation. They had SWAT here and everything, AKs, the whole 9 out.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt your story. Go ahead.
But we were basically shut out this part of the neighborhood for about 4 hours. And I was even making jokes that they were going to, Janet Reno, the guy, and like burn his house down with him in it, but they didn't do that.
We live in a pretty quiet neighborhood outside of Halloween because we back up, like the street we live on backs up to the woods at Hunt Club Farm, if you're in the area, and they do a Halloween experience in the woods.
Apparently a decent show.
I mean, I've been through it. It's overpriced, but you hear the screaming and the chainsaws, and you can smell them stuff in the fall. It's pretty cool. But other than that, it's pretty quiet in our neighborhood, except for that one time that there was the hostage situation. And then the other time, there was obviously a dispute between neighbors on opposite sides of the street. And we were leaving the neighborhood one day, and the guy put a big sign up in his yard.
It was on wavy and everything.
And it said, "My wife is not running a brothel," or something like that.
We are not running a brothel.
We are not running a brothel from this home. Yes, thank you kindly for calling the cops, whoever did it. Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
Yeah. And it
was
made
so
the news.
funny.
I was like, man.
Like,
Oh, wavy.
really? And then there's our little girl. She doesn't like that story.
Stop it.
Then every Halloween after that, he would put the mooning pumpkins, like it was a scarecrow mooning the neighbors across the street. It's pretty funny. Our next person, we just call her the barista. She's our lady at Starbucks. Saw her today.
The Starbucks at Phoenix is Phoenix Ave, but it's over by Lynn Haven Mall. It's between Skechers and.
People don't need to know exactly. A lot of people listening don't even live in the area. So
That's true. But anyway, she's always been our barista like 90% of the time. She's a nice enough lady. She kind of recognizes us, but one time we showed up with your mom and dad around Christmas time. This is
the first time. The first time she waited on us.
Yeah.
She was, I think, missing her front tooth.
She was missing her front tooth.
And Dad was full dressed up like Santa. We were coming from the Santa breakfast at school. And we had him in the car, and we pull up to the window, and Dad says to her, like, "What do you want for Christmas,
little girl?"
Little girl, and she goes, "Oh, my front tooth."
And then she does that number.
It was so funny because it was like, all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. She's
always real
awesome.
friendly.
She's
She
very,
always
yeah,
gets the
she's
order
cool.
right. Today I show up and I was like, Jesus, did something blow up on you? She had coffee, literally a coffee exploded on her. So she was talking about. She says, I love my job, but some days it's difficult.
And then she made a joke that could have been misconstrued the wrong way, and she realized it, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to say it that way. That sounded really bad," which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then our last person on our list here of our background actors, this is 100% Kevin, and this could fit a great variety of people.
There's not one particular person.
It's not a singular person.
It's used to be when we were were teenagers and whatnot that were working their first job, minimum wage, and I'd call them Skippy. Skippy's. I'd ask Skippy at the Walmart for.
And we've been at Home Depot. I gotta go find a Skippy.
I gotta find Skippy at the. Nowadays, Skippy is not
a teenager anymore,
because,
so you really can't call him Skippy.
Minimum wage has priced out teenagers from the workforce, but I'm gonna skip all that. Anyway,
Skippy that.
I'll Skippy that. So Skippy is a little bit older, and I don't do the Skippy thing as much as I used to because it's not right to really call somebody of age Skippy, but there's
it's a little bit
Skippy.
He doesn't do it to their face. Again,
No.
This isn't stuff that he's like calling them Skippy from down the aisle. Hey, Skippy, come here, I need your help. Like, he's not doing that.
I'm not that much of an asshole. Kind of an asshole.
He keeps the assholishness in his head, and then...
But I use this expression a lot, especially when I was younger. And when I was hanging out a lot with Richard and Kate picked up on it. And she was telling me this story, and I think it's one of my favorite stories. But she was telling me how her and her young son were at the Walmart, and she needed help with something. She says, I got to find Skippy. And then there happened to be a Skippy right there. And she was, what do you need, ma'am? And she felt like, she heard me call him Skippy. Well, RJ starts asking, Mommy, who's Skippy? I was like, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
Those people,
that's
they
awesome.
wear name tags,
Yeah, well, whatever.
So, kind of hanging these little nicknames on the background people in your life. The ones you don't really know, you just encounter them occasionally.
You appreciate them, but they're not...
It reminds me of Friends, because in Friends they had the naked guy, through the window, ugly naked guy, or whatever they called him. I can't remember what they called him. That kind of thing. Everybody, I hope we're not the only people who do this.
We can't be the only people to do
But it makes me wonder, and I don't know that if I've ever really asked you this before, but did you ever have a nickname?
I have tons of nicknames.
People call
Mostly involving my weight, but yeah, the OB guys used to call me Lunchbox a lot, just because that's what they called from Jay and Silent Bob. One of Silent Bob's nicknames was Lunchbox, so I picked up the name. So like Matt and mostly Little Tom and Matt. And
I want to say that might have been your email address when we first started dating.
Might have been, yeah.
Because I actually kind of remember that.
Yeah, but Fat Boy. Rose Boy, a lot of people call me Rose Boy a lot throughout my life. As a matter of fact, there was a teacher, all three of us were Rose Boys. I had a teacher, Mr. Monroe, who had Tommy and then had Billy. So when I went to school at Forest Glen, I'm walking through the hallway, and I didn't know him at the time, but he kind of just jumps towards me and goes, "You're a Rose Boy." And I was like, "Yes, sir."
I'm sorry for whatever my brothers did.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be in any trouble. He just started laughing. He loved the three of us. He thought we were the best things ever. But Mr. Outlaw didn't think so. Mr. Monroe loved us though.
Lunchbox, huh?
Lunchbox. That's probably the one that stuck the most.
I really think that might have been either your screen name,
might have been a screen name
or your email.
I don't know. It would have been years ago. I hadn't been called Lunchbox in a long time. The only one that calls me that now is probably Little Tom or Matt.
Didn't they call you KK?
That was like cousins and whatnot.
You hate it.
I do hate it. They still do it from time to time. They don't realize it because they don't really see me anymore. They just see me online, so they'll throw the KK out there, and I'm like, God damn it! I'm not 5 years old. Come on.
My dad, when I was a kid, used to call me KJ because my middle name is Jane. So he would call me KJ on occasion. Some people call me Kel, but not many. Like, I know of like a few specific people who will say they'll call me Kel, but most people just call me Kelly, at least to my face. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mrs. Rose.
They probably
Mom, sometimes, or grandma at school. Yeah.
They probably call us fat chooches at the Chick-fil-A.
At the Planet Fitness when we were in there. It's possible. It wouldn't even offend me because, it's just...
I don't care what you think of me. I really don't. I want comments and whatnot. I ask for comments and whatnot and whatnot. But really, as far as like what people think of me, it doesn't hurt me either way. I am curious as whether or not people enjoy the show, and from the feedback I get, I do believe you guys enjoy the show.
I care about what people I know and care about think about me.
I care about what you think about.
Like my family and my friends and the people I work with, like my students, I care about what they think about me. Mm-hmm. But just like Zigzag Lady or the Haggard Bitches, like I don't care what they think about me. They don't know me.
Yeah.
And
to them, we're just the weirdos parked in the.
They probably have a nickname for us because we park in their parking lot and eat breakfast every day.
They probably call us the Fat Parkers.
Whatever. That's what we are.
Yeah,
Tilly has a lot of nicknames, though.
Yeah.
I've always been like this with my dogs. They've always had many names. So Tilly is her actual name. And then I call her Baby Girl a lot. Oh, Kevin's going to get her. We heard that we didn't have Tilly on the episode last week, even though the episode was all about Tilly.
There she is.
There she is. Oh, you were a good girl? You let Daddy pick you up? That was nice.
Yes, very nice.
I call her Baby Girl. I call her Nugget. I call her Nugganoo. Nuggalo. What else? Little girl. What else do we call you, Tilly?
Baby girl.
Baby girl. Tilly Goat.
All right, baby girl. Yeah, Tilly Goat. Silly Tilly. Silly Tilly. With all these kisses. She's a sweet girl.
Oh, she's so good.
Grandpa calls her Little Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Mike calls her T-Bird.
T-Bird. Yep. She's a lot of names.
Oh,
watch this. She knows this name too. Red Ball. She goes, what? Where's Red Ball? Where's Red Ball? Oh,
now she gotta go find it.
She bought.
Red Ball. Go get it.
It's okay. I'm sorry, Dilly. I'm sorry. It's in the other room.
She's pissed.
She loves these little bouncing. They're about, I don't know, this big. Red ball. She had a pink ball and an orange ball, but they're all red ball. And she just kicks them and punches them and chases them. Mostly when we go to bed at night. Like, she gets this burst of energy. The last 2 nights, she brought it into the bedroom with her.
Yeah, which is weird. She brought it outside the other day, which is very weird. She
Yeah.
usually does not bring stuff out.
She plays with something for a second, then she drops it and walks away.
Yeah.
So we have lots of names for the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of names.
Libby, she was a Libby Libertator.
Libby Girl.
Libby Girl.
She was Tater Tot. Yeah, I don't know. I just like to hang little fun names on my doggies. All right, so that's really all we wanted to talk about this week.
Yeah. So when we come back, you want to do? We did last week. We do some.
You want to do that do-it-yourself therapy?
Yeah, that was
Since we talked
really
about
good.
being depressed today, maybe we should do some do-it-yourself therapy.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that.
That's what we're gonna do.
All right, folks, we'll be back soon.
And we're gonna do some self-therapy with.
We need some do-it-yourself therapy.
Do-it-yourself therapy.
Do-it-yourself therapy. We need some
table topics. So again, I can't recommend this game enough. I think there's some really solid stuff in all of the games that we've had, but it's particularly this one has been really good to us. But look them up online. Where'd you get them?
Amazon.
Yeah.
Just table topics, and you'll see they have a bunch of different ones.
Pull them out.
They even have them for kids. So
Yeah.
Lots of these aren't safe for kids, but some of them are.
You go
You ready
first.
for number one?
Yep, let's do it.
Do you look more often for the tragedy in comedy or the comedy in tragedy?
Oh, I'm definitely looking for the funny and all of it.
Yeah,
My
Kevin
family,
puts the fun in funeral.
yeah, my family is particularly put the fun in funeral. I mean, we have hilarious funeral stories.
We really, really do. I don't know that we've shared. Maybe we have.
Maybe we'll save that for an episode. We'll do
we both have funny funeral
fun
stories.
and funeral stories.
I will not share my funny funeral story.
I will. I'll throw all that shit out there. All the shit I will throw out there.
Looking for the comedy in tragedy is moving yourself through it, like dealing with the pain of whatever the tragedy is.
Absolutely.
And then moving yourself through it. It's not that you don't feel the pain or you don't care about it or you're heartless or whatever. It's just your way and my way.
It's a coping mechanism.
Of coping with it and being able to laugh and release that emotional. You have the emotion inside of you. And I think to like your mom's funeral. Everyone is pent up, right? Because you're trying not to like completely lose it. Mm-hmm. And you crack a joke or you tell a funny story and you laugh, and that laughter releases all that pent up stuff. Yeah. I also think of the movie Steel Magnolias, the funeral scene in Steel Magnolias, when they're at the graveside and what's that actress's name? Sally Field. Sally Field is like breaking down because her daughter died, and it's this tragic, hard moment to watch. Like you feel it in your throat. And then someone cracks the joke and they all start laughing. And it's just this release of emotion that you are more comfortable releasing because it's laughter. And for me, I feel like that's why I always look for the comedy in tragedy.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where some people are probably like, you aren't right. Like, because I will see something horrible on the news and I'll crack a really inappropriate joke about it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, God, you're just, how do you do, you're so unfeeling. No, I'm not. I have to be able to laugh because if you're not laughing, you're just crying about it.
We used to have a game that we played amongst us fellas at like Richard and Matt and Adam and Smoke and everybody. We called it the Hell Game, and I was the undisputed winner because whatever we talk about, whoever came up with the most inappropriate, fucked up joke, you'd earn prizes in hell because we're all going to hell, right? So you know that earned you a brand new car in hell, or that earned you a mansion with AC and all this stuff. It was great.
I mean, I know I've cracked jokes that my friends have been like, oh, God. But, but they need that release too. They're laughing at it. So, I mean, it isn't disrespectful. It's not.
It's
just a way of coping. And I think it's a healthier, in my opinion, than always looking for the tragedy.
Yeah.
How do you look for the tragedy in comedy?
See, you're thinking too hard. You're
exactly.
wanting misery at that point.
Exactly.
And you shouldn't want misery. If you want misery in your life, there's something wrong with you.
I agree.
You need Jesus or something. Jesus. All right.
That is one tragedy I wouldn't crack a joke in the middle of. No, I can't even say that. You did that too.
Yeah.
You cracked a joke at the end of.
Oh, I went to Passion of the Christ with my dad because somebody paid for everybody to go in Hatteras Island, and he wanted to see it. And I'm like, great. I've never been to the movies with my dad. I'll go see Passion of the Christ with him. And it's a fantastic movie. I'm sorry. However you feel about it.
Very hard to watch.
And it's hard to watch. Well, it gets to the end, and spoiler alert, Jesus isn't in the crypt. So I was like, we're getting up. And I said, well, they left it open for a sequel. Well, my dad's chuckling at this. The lady in front of me did not think that shit was funny at all.
Because I was going to say that's the one thing I wouldn't joke about, but then here you go.
And then Mike's got the classic joke. I'm going to do this real quick. But we were sitting there, talking about some inappropriate stuff. Mike says, well, it'd be really inappropriate is if they had one of those balloon... car lot things.
Yeah, the car lot
for
guys.
Like Jesus on the cross. It'd just be like that's just the funny as hell.
Again, we're going to hell. Yeah. I'm sorry.
For better or for worse, what music affects your mood?
For better or for worse?
Mm-hmm.
What music specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's this really probably no one listening to this is going to know who this person is. But Michael Tolcher, he opened for Gavin DeGraw. I went to see Gavin DeGraw years ago. Michael Tolcher opened for him. His album, I Am, I think is the name of the album, or that's the song anyway. That whole album, if I am needing just some, like, headspace, I got to get myself in the right headspace and just be happy about things, I put his music on. It changes my mood, and in a good way. Cake changes my mood in an aggressive way. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm feeling pissed off or whatever, and I put Cake on, I just scream and curse and yell and shout it out, and I get all the aggression out. So those two come to mind because I will put Cake on, I will put Michael Tolcher on, specifically because I need a mood change. Mm-hmm. I'm not much of a music listener. Mm-hmm. I don't have a why. I mean, I like a little bit of everything. Garth Brooks is one of my very favorites. The Eagles, one of my very favorites. Michael Tolcher, Gavin DeGraw. I like Michael Jackson. I mean, I like a little bit of everything. I'm an 80s music person, but I don't listen to it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a podcast listener, mainly.
Yeah.
But if I want to change my mood, those are the two that I put on.
For me, it's
a Hamilton soundtrack.
Yeah, Hamilton soundtrack. For me, it was, for a while, I was really, I liked Bowling for Soup. Because those guys really just put me in a positive mood.
You introduced me to Bowling for Soup. I love Bowling for Soup.
I owe that one to Richard. And then sometimes I get into a weird space where I just really want to listen to some Pink Floyd. And I'm not a drug user or anything like that, but it's really just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'd really like to listen to that. But I got to tell you, for me, there was one day when I was working from home, you were at work, and in the middle of the day, I just felt sick. I just got real sick. I even called out for the rest of the day, and I just laid down on the bed. I didn't even come out, and I just laid down on the bed. And I was like, I was just not in it. So I put on some Pandora, and I just put on the classic country music station, which, and it just reintroduced that love of that music to me. Because what came on was some Waylon Jennings, and my dad liked Waylon Jennings. He really loved it. It was more of a George Jones. They didn't have George Jones at the time. It was just Waylon Jennings. It just hit me. It was like, this is my dad's stuff right here. This is my dad's jam. And it's like, God, I really love this stuff. And it really...
Yeah, you are definitely an old school country music fan.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep. But my dad was all for some old possum.
Yeah. Did it make you feel better?
The music made me feel a little better, but I was still physically ill. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me, but it put me down for the rest of the day.
Yeah. All right. What's the craziest thing you've done today? And I know what this answer for you should be.
Oh, yeah. So we're driving home, right? And, I've been driving all day. My mother-in-law's van, helping her getting on the Jazzy and all this other stuff. And so I get in my car, and we're go pick Kelly up. We drive down to the ocean front just to,
We do that a lot. We just take the long way home.
Yeah, we take the long way home. This is where we had this deep conversation about the whole depression bit. And we're on the way home, and we run into a little bit of traffic. And I'm getting to where I have to use the bathroom. And we've established that when I've got to use the bathroom,
we call it a Dunkin' Donuts moment.
Yeah, it's got to be addressed fairly soon, or there would be a Dunkin' Donuts moment. So I'm expressing this to Kelly. I'm driving, and the traffic's starting to catch up. And I'm like, yeah, I got to go home. I got to take a... And then this car cut us off, like, real quick. And I just screamed, Mondo Duke!
You didn't even miss a beat. It was like when someone pulls in front of you and you yell, bastard, or whatever.
Or it's just shit. It's a shit.
Because the guy, he didn't really dolt in front of us or anything, but he overreacted a little bit.
I overreacted.
But he's like, I really got to get home and take a Mondo Duke. It was so funny because it was just those two words he screamed out. I thought it was going to die.
Now, this is an Impractical Jokers thing. This is something they did in a bit where the guy had to take a Mondo Duke, which is basically he's got to take shit. Which, It was a shit moment. I was saying I got to go take a shit. I was going to call Armando, dude, because she knows what I'm talking about. But it was just so funny the way that went down.
It was pretty funny. I don't know what the craziest thing I've done today is.
Yeah?
I mean, what did I do today? I actually got through 3 whole small group lessons in reading. I taught digraphs, CHSHTH. I taught listening
Getting
for
crazy.
the middle vowel sound in CVC words like
Shut up. Did you?
I taught kids how to decompose the number 4. What else?
It's my favorite number.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't do anything too crazy today. I ordered, you know what? We were trying to decide what to do for dinner. We were going to just make salad and chicken tenders. And I was like, I ain't feeling that. I want Outback. And so we went and we got Outback for dinner. That was kind of crazy. I don't really like Outback.
Yeah.
But I was craving the bloomin' onion.
Yeah.
And so I got a
That is
bloomin'
their
onion,
deal.
and it was really good.
That is a really good appetizer. So
I guess that was crazy, going to Outback on a random...
yeah.
That's generally a planned dinner. All right.
What do you hoard?
Ooh. What do I hoard?
Nails.
I don't know. Do you think I hoard nails? As I sit here with this huge pack of nails, well, most of these, well, not most, some of them are getting mailed out to customers, so they are everywhere, by the way. Yeah, I do hoard nails.
This week's episode brought to you by Polish My Way.
Polished my way. Not polished my way. What the hell was polished my way?
I just went full Walt for a moment. We were listening to Tell 'em Steve Dave, and they were an episode they did several years ago, and they got in a little bit of trouble because the Tell 'em Steve Dave guys had a show on AMC for a while called Comic Book Man, and they were going to play a game called Russian or Polak.
No, it was Russian-Polish roulette.
Russian-Polish roulette. And AMC said, no, you can't do that.
Can't do it.
Can't be talking.
Don't want to talk about any race of person.
Yeah.
So that was just funny. Polished my way. Polished my way with Kelly. Check me out on Facebook, or just go to polishedmyway.com if you're really interested. Anyway, so I hoard that, and here's something else I hoard, and I just maybe realized that I actually hoard this. Mm-hmm. So I was going to school the other morning, and I put my Chick-fil-A iced tea in my teacher bag, and I pushed my little cart because I have all this crap to carry. Plus, it's much easier just to push the cart. And it spilled a little bit inside my teacher bag, so I was emptying the bag out. Thankfully, there were no kids at school that day. I found a bottle of Tylenol, a bottle of just off-brand acetaminophen, which is the same thing as Tylenol, and a bottle of Aleve, full bottles, pushed down in different pockets of my teacher bag. And so I collected all of these, and I said to Robin, I'm like, I think I might have a problem, because I have Tylenol and more Tylenol and Aleve. And then later on in the day, I unzipped my lunch bag, and I had a full bottle of ibuprofen in there. The funny part about this is I rarely take them.
Yeah.
Like today I took...
It's a safety blanket is what it is.
It is. Today I took 2 ibuprofen just because my knee was giving me a little bit. But I don't normally take it. My back... what happened is my lower back was hurting. And I'm like, I have to put this in my bag. It's exactly what it is. It's a safety blanket. And my hemp gummies were in my lunch bag also, which I don't ever eat them either. But it's better than Oxy.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have pulled out illegal substances. These were all just like aspirin.
Yeah.
But I guess I hoard bottles of over-the-counter pain medicine.
It's not a horrible thing, but really.
What do you hoard?
Actually, not much nowadays. I used to be a comic book collector. I had tons of comic books when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to them all, really. Then it was movies for the longest time. I had a huge wall full of DVDs that we sold, most of them.
We did. I didn't make you get rid of them.
But I mean, it was like everything that you want to watch, you can find streaming somewhere or another. Either it's part of your Amazon or Hulu or fucking Netflix, or you can just rent it from Amazon. So, I mean, every movie that's out there, you have quick access to.
Except I haven't been able to find Cocktail on any of those streaming devices.
Really?
I don't know why I've been wanting to watch that lately.
Probably because they keep talking about it on Tell 'em Steve Dave and Jokers. So.
Yeah, I can't think of anything you really hoard.
No. I mean, every now and again, the people will give me comic
Jaws
book related
things.
stuff or Jaws related stuff, and I love that stuff.
But it's not like it's like overrunning our house or anything.
Yeah. Lisa, I won't say her last name, but Lisa gave me one of my favorite gifts ever for my 40th, which was a Jaws, shark-shaped Jaws, specifically Jaws bottle opener. I don't ever use it as a bottle opener, but it's in our drawer, and I love it.
Okay.
Do you
talk to your parents too much or not enough?
See, that's interesting because we live with your parents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talk to particularly your mom about everything, and it's not just the day-to-day stuff. You talk to her about.
It's just pretty much my go-to person.
Yeah. So it's not a matter of you doing it.
I don't think we talk to them too much.
You don't talk to them too much. I think you have a very healthy relationship with your parents.
Do you think so?
I do. Honestly, I do.
I think I do too.
I think there's a generational gap, and that would cause obvious difficulty for any set of people.
I mean, I've always gotten along very well with both my parents.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, as a teen, I didn't push limits. I'm a lot like my dad.
There you are.
I am a lot like my dad in my personality. But I need to be more like mom. So when I need advice about something or if something's just bothering me, like, I don't know, mom's just my go-to person.
Yeah. And your mom's pretty smart.
Yeah, well, both of them are.
Yeah. She's badass. Your mom's really a badass.
I can only remember one time where I ever felt like this is really going to disappoint my parents. And that was when I dropped out of college. I vividly remember making the decision that I was leaving school, and how am I going to tell my mom and dad? They're going to be so disappointed because they really wanted me to go through school. And they were so like, okay, so what's your plan? What are you going to do? And I was like, well, this is what I think I'm going to do. All right, you think you're going to like that? I don't know. I want to try. Well, the school is always there. You should go back to it at some point when you're ready. But they were so cool about it, which thankfully I did. So anyway, I don't think I talked to them too much or not enough.
I can't. So. When
your parents were around, though, you didn't. Since I've known you, you weren't like having to talk to your mom every day, or
no. Our people are a little bit different. We don't have the daily conversations or the weekly conversations. I'll get a text message from my brother Billy. As a matter of fact, he's the one that was giving me shit about the not have. It's like, how do you have an episode of about your dog and not have the dog in the episode? I was like,
we had her in the episode that we didn't record. Yeah. Because I never pushed record.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit. We did actually have a nice full little bit with Tilly in it.
And then we were so irritated that we didn't record, we never even thought about Tilly in the second part.
Yeah.
So anyway. And you heard from Tommy last night.
Yeah. Tomorrow night we're actually going to
meet them for dinner. So that's nice.
With my brother and sister-in-law. And it's the first time that they've seen your mom and dad.
In a long time.
In a very long time.
At least since Dad's been sick.
Yeah.
I don't think they've seen him since he's been.
Yeah, and they haven't.
Okay.
So that'll be good. But I don't. It's a different type of relationship. I know my brothers are there for me. Any of my family, they're there for me if I need them. But we don't need that constant
communication.
Yeah. And if we do, we've got Facebook. And
I do. When Mom and Dad were in Georgia, I called Mom at least twice a day. I talked to her at least twice a day. Yeah. And my sister, my brother-in-law was like, oh, they're on the phone with each other millions of times.
Yeah.
Well, not really millions of times, but I do talk to my mom a lot. So I would get off work, I'd call her. Before I went to bed at night, I'd call her. It's just, I don't know. It's weird if I have a day go by without talking to them a couple times.
Yeah.
Dad doesn't like talk on the phone, so he's happy not to talk on the phone. But I don't know. Mom is different.
Yeah. Your mama is a phone person. All right, me, right?
You?
What are you a typical example of your position in the family birth order?
Yes.
Oh, because you're the oldest.
100%.
Yeah. All right.
I think so, don't you?
Yeah. In your situation, yeah, because you're like the
Control
responsible
freak,
adult.
responsible adult, tend to be the peacemaker.
Yeah. It's not so much like Jennifer isn't a responsible adult.
No,
I'm
not saying that.
She was not, particularly when she was younger. The stories I've heard, she was more of a wild child.
No, I mean, I was always babysitting from a young age and
yeah, you were the responsible
keeping an eye out for them. And like when birthdays were coming around, I was the one that.
I mean, we could talk total shit about Jennifer. She doesn't listen to the show.
It's true.
Can you believe it, folks? Can you believe it?
I'm not feeling great all of a sudden. I'm not even lying. I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Want to cut out?
Nope. Or I'm gonna push through it.
Push through it. Okay.
My turn.
Well,
Oh, what
I
about
got.
you? You're the baby in your
I'm
family.
the baby in the family. What I remember as far as my position, I was a little different because a lot of people think, well, the baby of the family is they're the ones that get goo goo gaga. I didn't get a whole lot of that. Yeah, honestly, there's not very many pictures of me as a young kid at all. I was an ugly baby, and I guess our family wasn't typical like that. We didn't have those typical stereotypical roles as far as all that went. So I guess that's not really a thing. So being the baby of the family didn't really.
For you.
Yeah, it just wasn't really a thing.
Right.
I was different than the rest of my family because they were like the hardworking people, and I was always not.
You're a hardworking person. You're just not a physically working person.
Yeah.
Like you don't physically put in a hard day's labor.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Is your mind more open or closed?
I think I'm an open-minded person. Believe me, people aren't going to say, well, you're the most closed-minded. You don't conform to what we think, so you must not be open-minded. Which I think is hilarious that people believe that. Like I'm willing to listen to you, and if you come up with a good point, I'll tell you, yeah, that's a valid point. And just because I won't conform to what other people think is the normal thought, I don't think that the government should be in charge of everything. I don't. They think that I'm not open-minded. You're not even considering the idea that the government not be in charge of everything, but I'm the one that's not.
But like, you don't think the government should be meddling in like
anything.
Marriage?
Nope.
Adoption rights.
Nope.
Survivorship rights. Like, if a couple
All of
is
that
together.
can be handled outside of government.
Yeah. So, but you
Or
are
they can
open
handle
and
it through
accepting
contract
to.
law. That's it. They can sit there and act as a referee.
But outside
part
of
of the
politics, even. You are open-minded in letting just people live the life that they want to live.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, people.
I might think what you think is the way you want to live may be strange, and I might think, oh, I wouldn't do that. But if you want to do that, brother, have at it, brother. That is all you. Mm-hmm. You bear the joys and the responsibilities of your choice. If you make a ton of money doing something, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, have at it, Hoss. I'm all for it. Keep all the money you make, No one's entitled to your stuff.
I think for me, I tend to be a little closed-minded in things that I feel like I know a lot about. Like, I put myself in the school world, like, decisions that are made, and I'm like, oh, that's not right. We should be doing it this way. Until I have been proven wrong. Like, until I see what someone else is telling me. And I'm just talking about, like, in school stuff.
Yeah.
In actual, like, society, I am very open-minded. Yeah. So I don't care if you marry outside of your race or within your own gender or, like, those kind of things. Families can be made up of whoever. As long as there's love at the center of it, that's all that matters to me. So I think I'm
simple
more
philosophy.
open-minded than closed-minded.
Absolutely.
Certainly. But again, it depends on this topic. You know?
But people think that because I won't conform to that normal thought, that I'm not open-minded.
Well, who decides what normal thought is?
And there you go. Because I catch hell all the time with people who believe me to be very closed-minded because I won't conform to what
Because your
they
thoughts are different
But
than
they
theirs.
won't even consider like that anything legitimate about personal liberty and freedom.
Or just letting you have your own opinion.
Right.
Whether they agree with you or not, it's your opinion.
And you see it all the time now where people are trying to get canceled for something they say or do. And I'm not a believer in that. You know, big story this week, Whoopi Goldberg said something completely boneheaded. She was like, the Holocaust was not about race. It was. It really was. But she was trying to make a point. She made a very poor point and wasn't correct. She apologized for it. Then she got suspended for 2 weeks, and she's probably going to quit the show. She was saying, apparently that's what she's saying
Not
in
going to
private.
quit the show.
But here's the thing about that. They've fired people for saying lesser stuff than that. She gets kind of a free pass. But I'll even...
But here's the other side of that. I don't even think she should have gotten a 2-week suspension.
I don't either.
So I'm not a fan of Whoopi. I do not watch The View. What she said was
Boneheaded.
not smart. But she apologized kind of half-heartedly. Apologized for it. Move on.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Roseanne Barr. She should not have lost her whole entire career over a belief that she has or a statement that she made. I don't think the other woman who got her cooking show taken away from her.
Paula Deen.
Paula Deen, over something she did 20 years ago. I just don't believe in that. I don't think that's an agent for change.
No, it's not. It's
I think that
absolutely not.
really just pushes everybody into this singular mindset that you can't say anything. And that's a very dangerous society to be in when no one's free to speak their own opinion.
And not only that, it doesn't even account for redemption. So it means redemption's impossible. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. There's a very rare occasion where redemption, I believe, is impossible. That's mostly with child pedophilia or if you've murdered multiple people because you've gotten some joy out of it. There's no redeeming you. But for the most part, if you've made a mistake in life, redemption is a thing. I believe in it. I believe in it wholeheartedly.
This is a guy who's so principled that he will defend someone he vehemently disagrees with for their right to...
Yeah. Well, this used to be a tenement from the ACLU, is that I don't agree with what you say, but I'll defend with my life your right to say it. They don't believe that anymore. They are all about canceling people with bad opinions they don't agree with. But I still hold true to the principle. I don't agree with a lot of people that I say should have full-blown rights to say what they want to say. I don't believe in deplatforming people because you think they don't have a legitimate point or what they say is dangerous. Well, you know what? If you think their speech is dangerous, then counter them. Then present your own facts and in such a way that you can convince other people. It started with Alex Jones. They're coming hard for Joe Rogan. And it's not even because he's putting out misinformation, is like they're saying. He's putting out stuff, and he's got like people in the medical community backing his words, but it's not the approved words. Think about that. He's not saying what's approved, and that's what they're coming after him for. Does that seem right to you? Is that's not right. That's what I passionately called fucked up. And they need to knock that shit off.
Well, it just borders on censorship.
Yeah, it's 100%.
I mean, it's under, but it borders on living in a censored society, and that it's just not a safe.
As long as you're saying the approved stuff, you're not censored. But it's got to be approved.
Go to your next question.
Right.
Get off the soapbox.
What age do you feel like?
What age do I feel like? Oh my God, 60-something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what age I feel like.
Yeah, I'm getting up there too. Yeah. Today I got a haircut. See? It's all gone.
I was sitting in the back seat on the way to work this morning because Mom was in the front seat with Kevin. So I was sitting behind Kevin, and I was like, you really do have like a little bald spot right here on the back of your head.
I looked like I was, I honestly, people thought I was in my 40s when I was in my 20s.
But this doesn't say what age do you look like. What do you feel like? Do you feel old
I don't know,
or do you
I feel
young?
like I'm, because I got back problems and, my legs get to hurt. And I get it, it's because I'm a big old fat chooch, but, it makes me feel older. I'm getting all this gray hair. Basically all this is just skin, and then I get a little bit of.
I like it though.
Yeah, well, I like keeping my hair short. That's always been a thing since I was a kid. But I'm getting older, and I feel it. I feel like I'm in my 50s. I don't know how old I am half the time anyway.
You're not in your 50s.
I'm 47,
48?
48. I'm 48.
We think.
Yeah, gotta do the math. 74, June 74. Anyway, I don't know. I feel old. I do. I see stuff on TV and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? And it's like what young people do. Or on TikTok, I see people do stuff and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, we've aged out all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. That whole thing, you're only as young as you think you are.
That's bullshit.
All right.
You're older than you think you are.
Do you need to be more or less crazy in your life choices?
I think a little bit of crazy is good every now and again. I don't think crazy is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I think a lot of people will say doing something completely out of character is crazy. But really, it's not. Sometimes it's just, you know what? Fuck it, I'm doing it. And it may sound crazy, but some of the best decisions ever have to have ended up being a great thing. So getting a little chihuahua that barks in the middle of our show, we love her.
Well, she's defending us from the intruder. She ran him off.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't let her run you off, Dad. Don't let her win.
Poor Grandpa.
Oh, poor Grandpa.
She loves him. She really does love him, but she's a little bitch, too.
Crazy in life choices. I don't think I need to be more crazy.
You went out with a guy in a scary van.
I did. And we did have a conversation about taking up the weed on the way home from work today.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a crazy life choice.
That would be a crazy life
At
choice.
51 to start doing pot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just like edibles, but my niece says she's got a hookup, so. Maybe in June. That'll be a great episode in June.
Oh my God, that won't happen. Not the episode, anyway. I don't know. You're right. A little crazy is not bad. I need to be more open to a little bit of crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Again, this goes back to I've really closed myself off. I mean, I'm not going to go out and kill a person.
Yeah.
Or run someone down in a car. Hey, 5-0. Get out of the road. Not that kind of crazy.
We don't know why this mailman suddenly was tased in the balls.
I'll be Zigzag Lady. All right, let's get that last question.
Let's get it done. Have you ever become invested in the fate of a reality show? Have you ever
become invested in the fate of a reality show character? Oh my God, all the time.
Well, yeah, particularly with Big Brother. That one would really get into during Big Brother season in the summer.
We didn't have school Monday. You know what I did all day Monday? I stayed home and I watched season 2 of Cheer.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I watched the whole season of Cheer.
Yeah, you said you liked it.
I
never watched the first season.
I like those kind of docu-series kind of things,
Like Tiger King.
Tiger King was enjoyable. All right, it was enjoyable. The other one about the life of a murderer, making a murderer.
Oh my God, making a murderer.
That I really like. Like those kind of things I really like. I don't know if that's a reality show or not.
It is.
But okay. But I also get invested with like Amazing Race and I am more so than any other type of TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've gotten away from, I can't watch, like, I loved This Is Us when it first came on. And then, like everything else in life, the pandemic killed that for me.
Yeah.
We got away from Walking Dead. I was the biggest Walking Dead fan that we literally took a vacation to Georgia and we went to where they filmed The Walking Dead.
It was great, too.
And we drove around and we saw the gate and we saw the church and we saw, like, all of these things from The Walking Dead. It was awesome. The pandemic hit. I quit watching The Walking Dead and never went back to it. The pandemic killed television for me, like serial TV. Reality TV, I can tune in and watch it or not watch it. I can pay attention or not pay attention. It's not, what was it that we had this, Walt said it on that episode of, they were talking about Honey Boo Boo, was that what they were talking about? You can bounce in and out of it, or what was the...
Oh, they were talking about Impractical Jokers. It was just, you can invest in not caring. Or something like that, he said. Because with Impractical Jokers, it's not something that they're telling a continuous story. They're just guys having fun. You can tune in and turn out, is what he said. You can tune in and
turn out.
Yeah.
That's exactly the kind of TV I watch these days.
Yeah. Tune
in and tune out.
Because you don't have to be just really invested with individual characters, and Joker's just perfect for this because it's on so often.
Yeah, you can just be listening, or it's in the background.
Right, and they're just guys They're just at this point, after a few seasons of it, you really get to know these guys, and they're good guys. They're quirky and they've got their own little differences that make them interesting.
Right.
It's really. But you don't have to pay close attention to it. They're not going to set the world on fire, and they're not going to give you the secret to life.
And it's entertaining. You laugh, and not just at the Jokers, but like any of the. Cheer was not funny. Like, they followed storylines of the people, and they have like tragic histories.
Yeah.
Like where they came from, and so it wasn't a. Oh, you were laughing at them and they were doing all this funny stuff and they were just trying to entertain you. It really got down into like who these people were and throughout this competition. And then there's cool cheerleading in it, which I've always been the dance moms type. I liked to watch that too.
Some of those bits they did in Dance Moms with the kids were great.
I love to watch those.
They had great dance bits in it.
So I can easily get invested in the characters in reality. I know you can too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still hunt for TV shows
it's
to
not
watch.
My reality.
Like I started watching The Witcher, which I think is somewhat interesting. They're telling like 3 different stories that haven't met up yet. I'm interested to see how that's going to work out. But just out of the blue, I'll start watching Columbo again because I love it. I love seeing the little guy walk around, pulling one over on the bad guys, and it's good stuff. So it's one of those things where I can tune in and turn out, or tune out.
Tune in and tune out.
Yeah, tune in. It's on. I glance over. There's Columbo giving somebody a bunch of shit. Mm-hmm. I'm happy about it.
All right, well, that's all I got.
That's all we got?
That's all you got?
It's a good episode, I think. Like, comment, share. Let us know what you think. Let us know about the extras in your life. Really curious about that. If you're enjoying the show, let us know. Like us on Spotify. Tell your friends about us. Get some more people listening to us. Maybe we can get some ad money. Or you can always send us cash or buy nails from Kelly at
polishedmyway.com.
polishedmyway.com. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Have a great week.
Bye, everybody.